Hey guys, welcome to One Last Rep, a podcast where we'll be forging physical fitness while managing stress. My name is Lauren Cisneros, and I created this podcast in hopes that my experiences will help others going through a difficult time. I've been through a lot of rough and life-changing events recently, and one way that I've been able to manage stress in my life is by physical exercise both in the gym and by participating in athletic events. Each week I will be talking about a new subtopic and sharing both my experiences and interviewing guests who have also been through similar experiences. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get to it. Give me one last rep. So this week on One Last Rep, our topic is Leave Your Comfort Zone, where I will be talking about endurance events that I've done, how I've entered the endurance event world, the benefit of leaving your comfort zone, and discussing that leaving your comfort zone does not need to be physical, it can be mental as well. Over the past few years, I've completed several endurance events and obstacle course races, maintained a decent GPA in college, and work out on a 5 to 6 day a week basis. And again, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I'm just putting it out there, things that I've done. But you know what? A lot of people, they call me crazy for the kind of schedule that I maintain and the events that I do. And especially for paying for 5, 10, 15, 20 plus miles of what people would consider torture. But I think they're physical and mental challenges, and it's what keeps me sane. But am I really crazy, or is there an actual reason as to why people do these events? But according to an article on Forbes.com, endurance athletes tend to be people who seek greater challenges than the average person and like the idea of constantly exploring their mental and physical limits. As endurance athlete Dean Karnazes, author of 50/50, puts it, moderation bores me. And is this just it? Are people like me bored? Not necessarily. Some of us just want to know what it feels like to be pushed over our breaking point. It may sound crazy to some people, but when you're able to crush a goal and that you've set months prior, days prior, to the day prior, it's an incredible feeling once you're able to crush that goal. At least I think so. But so many people think, oh, I can't do that. I can't run a 5K. I can't run for that marathon. I haven't been training. I haven't been doing this. My leg hurts. I have a pre-existing injury. All these excuses that we make up, right? But a good friend of mine, she recently hurt her wrist. She could have had the excuse of, oh, I hurt my wrist. I can't go to the gym anymore. I can't go to CrossFit. But you know what she did? Her doctor told her it would be months until she could lift any kind of amount of weight. But instead of using that as a reason for her to stop working out, she said, you know what? No, I'm going to set up a running plan, and I'm going to get a goal to sign up for a 5K. I'm gonna sign up for a 5K, set a goal for myself to keep running during that 5K. And for some of you may think, oh, what a 5K, I can just run, it's fine, it's easy. You know what? No, not for everyone. It is not easy. When I ran my first 5K, I had to stop so many times because I could not keep my breath. I couldn't catch my breath, rather. It's very hard. Running is terrible for a lot of people. A lot of people do not enjoy it, but you have to find a way that you will enjoy it. And she is now contacting me saying how much she loves it, even though she hates it, if you know what I mean. And it's really cool to see her progress over the past few months. So instead of using excuses as an excuse not to work out, use that as something to fuel your fire. And so many people hate running. Why is that? I mean, I suppose it's because the constant exhaustion associated with it, the constant pounding on the ground, the mental game when you're running on the route that you're running on, it gets boring. There's so many different reasons as to why people hate running. But my friend, she doesn't care. She keeps finding a way to get out there, keep improving her time, and set a goal. She has a goal to complete this 3-mile run in June without having to stop, which is pretty cool. So making the decision to start running doesn't have to mean that you have to run a 6-minute mile or sub 6-minute mile or sub 8-minute mile, whatever it is. I mean, I can't do that either. But a 12-minute mile is just as far as a 6-minute mile. You just got to get out there and do it. But, if it doesn't challenge you, doesn't change you. If you're going to get out there and you're going to start walking every day and expect to be able to run an 8-minute mile, it's not going to happen unless you're a Superman, It's just not going to happen. Unfortunately, you got to put the work in. But only you can make the decision to start a journey to a healthier lifestyle. Physical limits are not the only way to leave your comfort zone, though. mental limits are just as challenging, if not harder. As I discussed in my first podcast, my best friend passed away in August, and my mother passed away in January. Having the two people that meant the world to me and lose them in such a short amount of time really messed with me. But some of my friends are still asking me constantly, how do you quote unquote do it? How do you keep going? How do you use that to fuel your workouts to keep pushing forward when you don't have your mother or your best friend anymore? Well, I have another best friend. Her name's Vicky, and I'm so blessed to have her in my life, and I'm so blessed to have my family, my dad, and I have a huge support system of friends. And you know what? I'm just blessed to be alive. And I know my mother would be looking down on me, and Amanda would be looking down on me right now and saying, you know what, keep going, keep fighting, keep pushing, because you're making us proud. And I hope that's what they're thinking, because that's what I'm shooting for. But, excuse me. But I'm still currently enrolled in college, and I'm anticipated to graduate in January. But has the semester been easy? Absolutely not. Are you kidding me? It's been the hardest semester of my life. In fact, I think this is the absolute hardest semester of my life, in my entire college career. Not because of the classes that I'm taking, but because of the mental block that I have, and I'm just starting to come out of it now. I used to be the student who was on Dean's List all the time. I had to strive for that 4.0, or otherwise I'd be upset and anxious and think that I could never get the job I wanted, or I don't know what I was thinking, honestly. Very silly. But I don't really worry about that anymore. Now I just do the best that I can, and I keep going, and I don't cry over spoiled milk. But am I saying that these goals are something that people shouldn't be trying to obtain? No, absolutely not. Are you kidding? However, since my two best friends had passed away, I've just been looking at school in a different light. Tests, papers, grades, they're all human constructs. Why would you want to stress yourself out over a number on a piece of paper? I see far too many people freaking out during finals week instead of taking a breath and realizing that it can actually always be worse. But being in school, again, it's the biggest mental challenge that I've been in, and every day I fight to keep my head in the game. Luckily, finals just ended, and thank goodness I'm done. But summer classes start next week. But I'm constantly out of my comfort zone. And as much as I want to just sit down, binge watch something on Netflix, play some video games, hang out, just do whatever, I know that I need to finish school, and I want to make my mother, my father, my family, and Amanda proud. But if you've already graduated school, congratulations. That is awesome. I am totally envious. But you know what? There are plenty of other mental challenges that you can do to push yourself out of that comfort zone. And I guarantee if you keep focusing and forcing yourself to do these challenges, the next time you do the task that you've absolutely hated, it won't be so bad. So do you have to force yourself to clean the house, wait until the last minute to pay the bills? Just try making small goals to see how you feel once you've crushed that goal, as silly as it may sound. But it does work, at least it does for me, so I hope it does for you too. For example, set a goal to clean your house one time a week at a certain time instead of waiting until your friend walks in and says, is this black mold? What is this black stuff in the bathroom, Once you've accomplished this, start making goals with other things in your life that you want to change. Crushing a goal and goals, it's such a good feeling that once you start, you won't ever want to stop, and you want to keep challenging yourself. And without realizing it, you'll be stepping outside of your comfort zone and realize that it isn't that hard and it's actually really rewarding. So on that note, thank you for listening to One Last Rep. Remember to leave your comfort zone. It's absolutely worth it. Don't get discouraged. Keep pushing. The reward is great. I promise. So please join me on my next episode, showing up the hardest part, right here on One Last Rep.